Sell me this pen. Managers like to use this as an impromptu role play in the interview process. What they're looking for is how do you sell your sales skills, kind of throw you off of balance and see how would you go about selling something that you may have never sold before. And it's not an unreasonable request, but a lot of salespeople get offended and feel like just walking out of the door. They think it's below them, and it may be. And it may be just the wrong approach. And people typically don't like to do impromptu, hey, dance for me. Show me your sales skills. What they really would like to do is show you how they sell their product, your product, things that are relevant. A pen, not so relevant. You're not selling a pen. They're not selling a pen. Who needs to sell a pen anymore? Nobody. But still, managers like to ask this question, and people have different ways. And they're all easy and simple. And I'll show you how to pick which one will work best with each person, because each person is different. There's no one best way, only for that individual. Think of it as cooking a hamburger for that person. You don't know how they like it. They might like it rare. They might like it medium. They might like it well done. You don't know that. So how do you find out? Well, it's much simpler than a hamburger. We can Google them. Google their company, Google people who work there, because typically what you'll find is you'll come up with a LinkedIn profile, and in the profile, you'll find little clues about how they like to sell. Are they selling to big companies over a long period of time? Are they selling small products to little companies? And a lot of them will join groups on LinkedIn. And these groups will tell you a little bit something. If they join the spin selling group or the challenger sale group or the strategic selling group or the solution selling group, or if they join all of them, what does that tell you about them? That tells you that they're interested enough in that sales approach that they bought into it, that they think of selling as either a consultative thing or a transactional thing or a personality thing. You can tell by their picture. Do they put any energy into their picture, or do they not care? Do they even post a profile? This will give you a little bit of clues into them and their company. Now, a lot of salespeople think that they can just use the, slide a piece of paper over there. Here, sign this. And the guy reaches for his pen. I don't have it. Where's my pen? Here, let me sell you this pen. Very clever approach, except in the rare case that they actually have a pen in their pocket and sign it anyway. Doesn't work that well. So you may come off as a little cocky here. I'd be very careful if you obviously see them not having a pen on them. I don't know if you can look in their risky, but it's clever and playful. You might be able to get away with this. The next is trying to be the hero and try and convince them that, let me talk to you about how I sell my product. And this works sometimes. You flip it back and talk about things that you do know about, things that you are aware of, things that you can give examples and tangible cases of how you've been the hero in selling your product into your market space. Because there's so many different ways to skin the little kitty. There's no one right answer. The other approach is to do the comparison, the infomercial. Compare one pen to another, determine the feature, function, characteristics that makes sense. Talk about the size and the weight, and it went to the moon. It writes underwater, upside down. You can write without looking. You can write left-handed, right-handed. The ink lasts for a century. All of this stuff, the feature function approach. Another approach is you could be the Columbo, the kind of spin selling, interrogation, diagnosis sales. Typically, older sales managers like this better, or the newer sales managers might like a challenger approach. It's like have you ever thought about the impact this pen would have on your business, not having it at the right time, not having a working pen, just at that right moment where you have to write down a phone number? Here, the diagnosis or the spin was like, oh, in what cases do you use a pen? What problems have you found in the past with pens? What are the implications of not having a high-quality pen at the right time? If you had a pen, how could that impact your ability to manage your team and bust your number away? And then there's the enterprise approach. Just say like, I'm not worried about just selling you a pen. I'd like to standardize the whole company on a series of pens, standardize with us so that you can take the long-term, the visionary approach of, I'd like to own the entire enterprise. Now, these are all 5 simple ways of getting engaged. But I do agree that probably the flipping, you give them a little bit so you answer their question, you don't avoid it, but flip it so you can start to have a conversation. Well, that's one way of selling, and there are many others. You tell me, what's the best way to sell your product? Let's put the pen aside. Tell me who's been successful selling your product and why. What approach? And give them a couple of approaches. Is it more of a consultative? Is it more bringing insight and changing the way they view things? Is it more problem solving? Is it more transactional? Or is it more of an enterprise sale? If you like this, check out the podcast, The Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling, on iTunes. I talk about all kinds of sales approaches and what I see working today and not working today. It's on iTunes. If you like this, please like it, comment, and if you disagree or maybe you agree, put a comment down there. Really appreciate you watching. Thanks.